also teaches the God that we think is the good God of this universe is really the bad God. And the one that you pose as the bad God is really the good God. What they try to do is they try to use even a Sumerian text that they found in cuneiform form. And in this text, it gave an account of two individuals called Enki and Enlil. Enki was the god that was a half man, half serpent. And he had favor towards man. Enlil looked at men as just a means to an end. So as we were here to mine the earth, we were just slaves without will, without thought pattern. And Enki wanted to give us wisdom. So the serpent Enki gave us wisdom to make us wise as the gods. And that created a war, of course, with Enlil and Enki. But for that religion, the serpent of the Bible is the good God. And the God that created the serpent and everything else is the demigod. Do you understand me? I hope you do. I hope you do. Because there's a religion today that teaches that same philosophy. That religion is an underground religion, but I know so much about it because someone tried to recruit me into it, and then I went and did some research and understood who that is. That religion is called Gnosticism. So you've heard of Gnosticism. You've heard of the spinoff. Gnosticism in the Greek means knowledge. The agnostics is a reverse order, so you're saying not knowing. I don't know. A lot of doctors and people of higher education are agnostics. But the Gnostics believe exactly what the teachings of Semiramis said the belief system has to be. There's another group that follows that same pattern. Because as Nimrod was killed, now in some accounts he was killed by her priest because she had an illegitimate son and he was going to put her out there, and she said, well, let's create a feast on December 31st, and on this feast we're going to change it around, we're going to kill the king. That's going to be our ritual. So they killed the king. She's there left alone. Now with all her political power within the priesthood, she rose to fame. But in Yashar, it tells us that Shem, the son of Noah, killed Nimrod, chopped him up into pieces, and sent him throughout all the land and said, if you follow Nimrod and this religion, this is what's going to happen to y'all. In other accounts, it's given that Semiramis had the festival and had the priests that followed her. Part of their ritual was to kill the king. Killed the king. The child was born. That child was named Tammuz. Tammuz. So we have some figures that I'm going to teach you about that are in the Bible right in front of us, but it's hidden in plain sight who they are. Semiramis, Nimrod, and Tammuz. The first person that I want to look at, as I said, is Semiramis, as we're already looking at her. But whether or not you believe everything I'm saying, we'll have to just look at certain things and then we'll see. All right, so when we look at this Semiramis, I was doing some study and I came across a guy who had a great website on certain things. His name is Jerry Robinson. He has TrueRichesRadio.com. TrueRichesRadio.com. Jerry Robinson. I was very impressed with his study, and as I was looking for more information on Semiramis, things that I didn't hear before, didn't see before, things that made sense, I came across an article that he had written. But in the article, he gave a video that told us something about Semiramis. Who this person is he just loves studying the U.S. history and how different cultures, especially the Egyptian culture and the Sumerian culture, have affected our culture today. That's just his thing. So as he was trying to study various things, of course, he's coming across certain things. One thing he came across is as he looked at the Congressional Medal of Honor, and he was looking at the design of it, he noticed something very interesting. He said all you have to do is, well, first of all, what is the Congressional Medal of Honor? That's the highest honor that could be given to any military personnel. That's the highest honor of valor. There are only approximately 3,500, maybe 3,534 people that have been given this award. It's over 160 years old. There are 19 people that are even alive that have this Congressional Medal of Honor. This is the highest honor that you can get from our military. And when you go on their website, which is Congressional Honor Society, Congressional Medal of Honor Society, they have a little 3 lines. You click on that, it drops down, and just like Mr. Robinson said, you hit it, and it's going to say medals. So you click on the medals, and then you go to the medals, and then he says it's going to drop down, and you click on design. Dang, I did that too. Clicked on design. It dropped down, and it showed me the pictures of the medals. Now, the Air Force was number 3, and that's the one that I wanted to look at, but I wanted to look at the other 2, and the other 2 had great designs. They were female goddesses. That's not uncommon. But this is another one, the helmet god, and this one was the warrior god. And when I went to the Air Force, I clicked on that one, and wow, that was a picture of the Statue of Liberty. And it had the rings around it, and it told about the 34 reefs, and the reefs represent the 34 unions that were at the time of approximately 1862 or 72, and then it told about the thunderbolt and how the thunderbolt was taken from the Army's way of doing things, and they borrowed that, and they borrowed a couple other things. But then when you click on the face, that little white line comes, and it said that this is the image of Semiramis, the queen of Babylon. So now, not only does this make it real of whether or not this person was a person that is known in history and somehow we're keeping her under wraps, or this just blew my mind. This blew his mind. That he was able to see what we thought was real is very real. So now, as we look back at what the Statue of Liberty represents, that's a statue of our country. That is a monument that shows what we represent. And we call her the Lady of Liberty, and that's fine, but that's Semiramis. So when you're talking about what it actually is versus what it appears, it doesn't matter. Truth doesn't change because of what you believe. He that have ears to hear, let him hear. That is a figure of Semiramis, which means that our country has a form of, is idolatry, is committing idolatry with Semiramis and has so for over 100 years. And there are other things when we look at our Eastern culture and our dollars and our symbolism in DC, we're going to talk about all that. But what I want to stay with is Semiramis. So as we go back to Semiramis and we see that now she has her a nice little army that are following, as Yashar says, when Shem killed the Nimrod, then Nimrod was given to all of the people, and everybody was scared. And they turned on Semiramis. And as they turned on her, she had to go underground with her priesthood. That priesthood continued going to various places, including to Egypt and part of Egypt called Alexandria. And that was a hotbed for her priests that taught all of the tenets of what they were teaching the people during that time. This is really deep, and I'm hoping that you can understand bits and pieces, even if you don't get it all, because this is really telling a story. As she went underground, she went to Alexandria. When they went to translate the Septuagint, and they were trying to take the Hebrew language and bring it into the Greek, where did they go to get the majority of the priests to translate the Bible? They went to Alexandria, where Semiramis priests were. So when you read our Bible today, as I said, everything that I'm talking to you about is in there. You just have to know where to look, and you just have to be obedient. He that have ears to hear, let him hear. So, that I told you, that TrueRiches.com, that's Jerry Robinson, that was a great article. So I definitely enjoyed that. We looked at trying to understand if this person is still here. When we look at the Statue of Liberty, we see that. Even the Starbucks symbol, I'm going to look at that because I haven't officially tied that in, been able to tie that in with Semiramis, but I believe that too is Semiramis. Semiramis, of course, in the Tower of Babel, when the earth was dispersed and languages were all changed and they had various languages, Semiramis' name went out, and it went out in several languages. So there are times when you hear Semiramis, you can also hear names like Aphrodite, Venus. All of these things you can hear, and I'll be exact. I have some notes here. When you see the god Ashtaroth and Tammuz, we just told you who Tammuz was. When you see Isis and Horus, that's the same thing. That's Semiramis being taken to another place, and then it having a different name. When you see Aphrodite and Eros, that again is Semiramis. Venus and Cupid, that's in Rome. These are the things that were taken from Babylon to all parts of the world. So when you're trying to understand, is she really in this culture? She never left. She never left. She's right there. She's right there. And as we look at where we are, we can see exactly what Yah says, and then exactly what the world is telling us. We just can't see it. So where is this Semiramis in the Bible? I'm saying that she's in the Bible, but where is she in the Bible? If you look at the name in the Sumerian form of Sumer Amat. Sumer Amat, which means the gift of the sea. Sumer Umat, which means the gift of the sea. Now, Sumer translates from Sumerian into Hebrew as, guess which word? Shinar. Now, you've heard Shinar in the Bible. If we go to Genesis chapter 10, verse 10, this is where Nimrod was from, the land of Shinar. That's pretty amazing. At the beginning of the Malakot, the beginning was Eric and Akog and Kaliah, and they were in the land of Shinar. So when you're saying Shinar, the word Shinar is translated back into the Samaria of Sumeria, where we get the Sumerians. So when we're saying that it's in the land of Shinar, it's telling us it's in the land of Semiramis. This is the Bible telling us about this figure, but they're not coming out and just writing Semiramis. But then you say, well, where else is in that Bible? I don't know if that's the case. Semiramis was called the Queen of Heaven. And God constantly told the children of Israel not to worship her, This is who Semiramis had set up to worship. This is who Nimrod set up to worship. God said not to worship her, and the people of Israel continued to worship the Queen of Heaven. If anybody